This is your quick training for how to use the Vinyl Master vinyl cutters. The first thing I will tell you is you need to open this application, but you also need to know how big the size of vinyl is that you're cutting on. If you're cutting off of a whole roll, it's about 24 inches, but you can also use scrap pieces. You just need to know how big your design is and know how big the actual item is that you are cutting. So when it opens, you need to start with a new document, and you can go decide what size you want that to be. You're not limited to this size though. This just kind of will show you the parameters. You also can set this right away so it will measure in inches instead of millimeters, unless you're more comfortable with millimeters. But if I'm going to print something fairly good size, I'm going to go ahead and just tell it that I want to look at the size of a sign. And then this tells me this would be my working canvas area because it's 24 inches. 24 by 24 up here. And that tells me it would have 24 inches here. So I can do a number of things. First of all, I could just type some text that I want to. So like I actually want to make a file that says jump drive, and I want underneath it to say number. So I want a file that says jump drive number. Actually, maybe I want drive enter there too. And then I want to center all those, but I'll take care of that in just a moment. One thing you want to consider when you are putting text in though is the font size that you're putting in and the width, because unless you're weeding just the letters away, they're going to be fairly small letters. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of those, and I want to choose a bigger font to go in, and one that's going to show up pretty good. Whoops, not sure what I pushed there, but that's not what I meant to push. Let's go choose a different font. I think one of the fatter ones would look better. I'm going to go Gabriola though, and then I'll just make it a bigger font. Because right now if I look at this, it's only 1.2 by like half an inch, and that's not very big at all. I will bold that and make it a little bit bigger. I also want to center it. And then I'm going to make it a little bit bigger by dragging from the corners. And now that's looking bigger. It's about 2.2 inches by 1.2 inches. So that's going to be a little bit bigger size. But maybe you're like, Mrs. Bauermeister, I don't want to make anything with text. That's totally fine. There are some power shapes here, as they call them. You could put those in. There's also some general clip art that they have. Most of it is just like road signs and signage. Maybe you'd be like, no, I don't want any of those. So then you're going to go to the magic World Wide Web, and you are going to go find something that is a picture. So it's a JPEG, a PNG, something along those lines. Then you're going to come to images and import that image. And here I have a fly the W. So hopefully the Cubs are winning today since I'm not watching them. So you can see my cursor looks like the picture as I'm bringing that in. That's a 4x4 size image. So I can resize that. Anytime I bring in anything from the internet, not text that I type, not shapes that I use, but if I bring in anything from the internet, I have to vectorize it, which is basically making it so it will speak to the computer, or from the computer to the cutter. So I'm going to go ahead and vectorize this, and I can see what it's going to look like. It looks like it's maybe a little rough around the edges. I'm going to smooth it just a smidge. Maybe not quite that much. And I'm going to tell it to trace. Now I'm cutting this just as one color image, so it really won't matter. I may want to smooth a little bit more and get rid of that outer edge. I'm not sure how it's going to cut up above, but I can try it and see. Once I decide I have my image set exactly as I want it, I'm going to get rid of these corners and see what that'll do. I'm going to retrace again. I don't think it really did anything other than enhance this edge. So I'm just going to say, for the sake of showing you that it's good, this is the way I want. I will hit accept. This is the file you would want to save to your jump drive, because remember, you don't have to be just on the computers connected to the machines. You can work on any single machine that you want to. I would save this to my jump drive, and then when I'm ready to cut, I'm going to come here, turn this machine on quickly just to show you, and when this pops up, I could decide, now this is a square image, so I really wouldn't want to rotate it, but if I wanted to rotate it so it would save some space and maybe not cut this way on the vinyl but cut this way, that would make more sense. It's also going to put in an auto weed box. Let me take that out. See, it just put a box around the outside, so you'd know like this is where the edge of that document is when you're cutting that off. Also, it puts in the speed weed, So when you're pulling this up and you don't want the vinyl to stick to other letters, it will basically put a slice line through the middle right there. Not through the middle of the W, but like the stuff that needs to be weeded away, so you can see that. And it's going to go ahead and do that. And then I would tell it cut now, and it would be ready to cut. That's all there is to vinyl cutter setup.